I, 30 male, have footage of my brother-in-law, 50 male, entering my house while I'm gone. Thousands of dollars ended up missing. My sister, 40 female, is estranged from the family. She's a pathological liar, and we've watched her abuse my mom and a string of men over the years before we cut contact about 7 years ago. Her ex-husband from that time, Phil, was a really nice guy, and after their breakup, he stayed in contact and became close with my mom as they're both Portuguese and he didn't have many friends here. He would come over to fix stuff, have tea, or walk the dog. He says he has PTSD from the relationship, and I believe it. He's come over sobbing many times, and I've consoled him and supported him in general. Last December, about $1,500 was stolen from our home. I got a security camera facing the entrance to the house. The other day, I get an alert and I see Phil coming over. He had asked me a year ago if he could come walk the dog sometimes, and I agreed. He should be able to come in the gate and grab the dog without entering the house. I see him on camera greeting the dog, and then he starts rummaging through my stuff in the outdoor seating area. Okay, maybe he left something here. He goes inside for 4 minutes, then leaves without the dog. I decided to go back through the footage as we've noticed more money missing, as well as some Valium I just refilled. I have footage of him coming over 5 times from January to March 13th. Each time he comes over, he calls out to check I'm not home, disappears inside for about 4 minutes, then leaves without the dog. Without showing you the footage, I can say this is like 99% proof that he's the thief. We comb through everything and nobody else comes over. We don't have cameras inside, so no actual footage of stealing happening. But what the hell do I do? I'm planning to confront him this afternoon, but I don't know the best way to do it. He's massively built, ex-bouncer, with anger issues in the past, extreme depression right now, and he can be aggressive. That said, he's always been the most perfect gentleman to my family, and his angrier side may just be in the past. I'm pretty fucked up by this, not to mention a few $1,000s down. He's coming over in about 8 hours, and I don't want to involve the police unless it's an extreme last resort. Update. Okay, I'm full of adrenaline right now. He was meant to come over but fell asleep as he works late. He messaged to apologize and said he'd come to see me tomorrow instead. I talked to my partner and friend and we decided to send him a message instead of meeting in person. Here's our chat. Hey Phil, I've discovered something pretty upsetting that we need to talk about. I want to say that I really love you and I think very highly of you and really love that we've supported each other through the years. I'm saying this now because I want to clear the air, make things right, and get back to being good friends. Since last year, I've noticed lots of money and Valium going missing from my house, at least $1,500. Me and my partner were very stressed out and didn't feel safe knowing people were coming into our home. We suspected my friends and investigated for a long time. It was really stressful and hurtful thinking someone I knew would steal from me and I didn't know who. I felt very betrayed. I noticed you came over the other day when the camera outside sent me an alert. I saw you look through my things and then left. I felt weird about it and looked back through more footage over the last few months. I noticed that many times you came over when I was out, went into the house, and left without the dog. I kept track of when money was going missing, and when I compared it to the footage, it was always after you had visited. The cameras don't show anyone else entering the house over the entire time I've had them. I know you've been really struggling and my heart goes out to you. I want to support you and be there for you. I can't forgive this and move on. It can stay between us and we can forget about it. For that to happen though, I would need my money back and to make a rule that you can only come over after we have discussed it. I'm sorry this is happening and I hope we can talk about it and figure out what's going on and how to make it better. I hope we can just work through this and go back to normal. Bill thumbs up the post and is silent for 10 minutes. Incredible power move. To be honest with you, I'm very sad and upset, but I didn't take any money or medication from you and I make good money and I'm not struggling. But if you want to talk about it, it's okay. But like I said, I didn't steal anything. And I've been there looking for your place, you have your things, etc. I never touch it. I love you and that's why I'm upset that you think I would do something like that. Like I said, if I needed money, the bank could give me a loan. I don't need to fuck my own name with something so stupid like that. As an example, this past Monday after I left for work, you came over, going inside for 4 minutes and leaving without the dog. Yes, I took a lighter, that's all. I have a lot of videos. Think about what you want to do. I just want to get my money back and an apology and then I can move on. It's pretty confusing to me, but I want to keep you as a brother. Me too, but I didn't take any money. Seriously, sad face. Why do you come over when you know I'm not home? Go inside and then don't take the dog. The leash wasn't there, that's why. You don't trust me. I think you'd have messaged me to ask about the leash after the 4th or 5th time. On February 9th, you come over and the leash is on the outside couch, but you leave it and leave without the dog. The leash is also on the couch on this video, and he sends him the video of him coming in with the leash being on the couch. His hand is in my bag and the leash is precisely 2 inches from my bag. I took a screenshot of his hand so close to it that in the grainy footage you can't even see a gap. Okay, my apologies about it, but what upset me is the fact that you think I took money from you. I'm an honest man, I would never do something like that. I'm really upset. I understand your side as well. I have some money at my place as well. That's why I have a spy camera. This makes me feel very uncomfortable and we need to talk in person because this is so stupid. I'm not like your sister. She was stealing our clients. That's why she lost the clients when I left her. It's hurtful, but I know you're a good guy. We can talk on here until we figure out what we're going to do. Like I said, I hope we can work this out and put it behind us. Me too. Do you guys think Phil did it and he's just lying through his teeth? Or is someone else in the picture that we don't know about?
Shit your pants as an adult? I haven't. Have you ever cleaned up adult shit and not been paid for it? I have. This is the story of my shitty coworker. I've been waiting to tell this story for so long, but I couldn't because I worked with her. But luckily for me, she recently quit, so I'm gonna air it out. So a little backstory. As soon as she started working, there was so many like red flags. This girl was just a pathological liar. Like, she told me that her brother was in Blink 182. I don't think that she knew that I knew that band. Also would lie about her age. Like, when I first met her, she told me that she was 28, and then her birthday came up, so I said, oh, like, happy 29th birthday. So offended. It was like, I'm not turning 29. I just turned 27. And I was like, oh, okay, like, maybe I misremembered. And then months later, she was like, oh, I keep forgetting that we're not that far apart in age. And I was like, oh yeah, like, we're only like 5 years apart from each other. And she was like, what? I'm 25. And later on, I find her on Facebook, and she had posted a profile picture in 2008 saying senior prom. You start to calculate it a little bit, that puts her at about 33 years old. Which, like, whatever, some women lie about their age, but, like, you can't gaslight me about it 3 separate times. And she was always the victim in all of her stories. Like, she never did anything wrong. I have not liked people I work with since I've been working, but I never let them know. It wasn't being fake, but I was being nice, because it's better than having drama. One night, we were working together, and we ended up closing pretty early, and she was like, oh, I haven't seen, like, your new apartment yet, like, can I come over? Been a decent day, and sure, like, you can come over for a little bit, we can have a drink. And after hanging out for about an hour, she was like, okay, I should get going soon, like, before I leave, can I use your bathroom? And I was like, of course, girl. Like, of course you can use my bathroom. I also wanted to backtrack a little bit because I did forget to put some important information in there. With her being a pathological liar on top of that, so we bartend and we pool tips if you work with someone. And one of her lies is that she would tell the servers that we didn't pool tips and to not tip out the other bartenders and then expect me to split tips with her still. So, like, kind of robbing me. She also would say, like, oh, I tipped you out this much, and it would be, like, significantly less. So she would also fuck around with my money, okay? It wasn't just, like, silly little lies. She's like, I'm gonna head out soon. Like, can I use your restroom? And I'm like, for sure, girl, go crazy. As soon as she gets done in the bathroom, she, like, fucking dips. Not thinking anything, like, what the fuck? And so I just go to bed. I go to bed. I wake up in the morning, and I go to pee. My toilet looks like, you know, you shit and then, like, it didn't go all the way down. Grab my toilet scrubber thing to, like, try and clean it up, and the toilet scrubber's already covered in shit. And I am confused. I had just had a birthday party and I had 17 people at my apartment, so I was like, okay, like, I don't know, maybe something happened when I had 17 people in my apartment. Not the one weird bitch that I had over the night before. But I tried to clean up the toilet the best I could with the shit scrubber. And then I threw it away because I have no fucking clue how to clean that. And then after that, I just, like, left and went to work. And then I didn't spend the night at my place after that. And I kind of, like, forgot about it. After a couple of days, I come back home to my apartment and I had opened the next morning. And so when I woke up in the morning, I went to go get in the shower. I go to get in the shower and I walk in my bathroom. I'm like, it still smells like shit in here. Like, it still smells so fucking bad. And I'm so confused. So I'm trying to figure out where the fuck this smell comes from. I look in the garbage can next to the toilet. And do you know what was in there? Do you know what is in there? Can you guess? Literally a whole human shit. Marinated in my bathroom garbage can for days. am crying and calling my coworkers. I like threw away my toothbrush. I'm in full panic mode. Because what the fuck? I think the worst part about the whole thing is that I never fucking confronted her for it. Like, I just worked with her for a month, knowing that she had shit in my fucking garbage can, and I had cleaned it up, and that she was shorting me money, and I just never fucking said anything. And that's the story of the time I cleaned up human shit, and I didn't get paid for it. In fact, I lost money on it. And I never had the fucking balls to confront that bitch about it. And that was the worst coworker I've ever had in my life.
Am I the arsehole for telling my parents the truth about my sister's fiancé? So I have a stepsister and we'll call her Jen. Mine and Jen's parents got together when we were teenagers and we just never clicked. I don't have anything against her or anything, we just aren't that close. So from the ages of 22 to like 26, I worked at my stepdad's company. Jen worked there too, and she actually still does. Whilst I was there, I started to get friendly with this guy, we'll call him Pete. And whilst I was there, everyone would joke about Pete having a bit of like a crush on me. I literally like never saw him like that, so I didn't think anything of it. And I obviously never even thought that it was a possibility. However, when I started dating my now husband, things started to get a little bit awkward between me and Pete. So eventually I got a new job and went somewhere else, and me and Pete didn't stay in contact. A few months later, I see that him and Jen have started to date on Pete's social media. And then he and Jen got engaged this time last year. And my stepdad has actually agreed to pay for the wedding. A few weeks ago, an old colleague of mine got married. So me, Jen, Pete, and my parents all went to the wedding together. And safe to say, Pete got a little bit over-friendly at the reception. To be honest, I just put this down to him having drank a little bit too much alcohol. However, later in the evening, I was outside just getting some air. I made it very clear to Pete that I felt very uncomfortable, so I just went back inside. The next day, I woke up feeling ridiculously awkward, so I decided to call Jen and tell her everything that had happened. Jenny then tried to accuse me of ruining her relationship. She then said to not make anything worse and to not tell our stepdad, since I'd already done enough. I agreed because I didn't really feel like I had any right to continue to be a spanner in the works. So a week ago, I was on FaceTime to my parents and we got talking about Jen's wedding. My face must have changed when they were talking about Pete, because they immediately asked what was wrong. I insisted there was nothing, but they said that they had seen the way Pete was acting towards me and that he'd been following me all around the wedding and that other people had caught onto it as well. After about 20 minutes of them thinking the worst that could have happened, I told them the truth. I literally begged them not to do or say anything because him and Jen were really good now. But he did end up calling Jen and they had the biggest argument. He refused to pay for the wedding and he even said that he wouldn't even go to the wedding. So since then, Jen has been borderline harassing me, texting me, calling me, posting on social media about how much of a bad person I am. Even had some of their work friends text me and say that I had probably ruined Pete's career now. I kept trying to explain that if I'd have not told them, the consequences would have been a lot worse. But apparently I should have just been able to hide the whole thing. Friends keep saying that I've done nothing wrong, but the whole wedding is cancelled now and my stepdad isn't talking to Jen anymore.
Supposed to be in Miami right now, but I had the most hectic day. It all starts with last night. There's a couple of things you need to keep in mind before I tell this story. The number one being that I fly standby. I had a 7 a.m. flight this morning, so I normally book my Ubers before I go to the airport. And I was with my sister, I was with Izzy, and I was like, I don't know why, I just like don't want to book this Uber right now. Like I don't want to schedule this Uber, I'm not really sure. And then I was like in my head, because I'm going through something, fucking obviously I'm literally going through something. And I was like, I don't know if I want to go to Miami, but I was like, no, like Miami would be good for me. Like I should go to fucking Miami, you know what I mean? I checked the flight before I go to bed yesterday, and it's like there's literally like 30 open seats. I'm like, okay, perfect, I'll be good, because I can check the seats for standby. I'm like, perfect, I'll be good. I wake up at 4:30 in the fucking morning this morning and immediately get like this weird urge. I'm like, I don't feel like I should be going to Miami. Like, I don't know why. I look at the flight and all the seats are booked and there's 18 people on the standby list. Like last time I checked, there was probably like 10 people. Now there's 18 people on the standby list and every single seat is like taken. I'm like, okay, that's fucking crazy for that to happen overnight, but like I'm new to standby, like is what it is. I'm like sure that this happens a lot. Just kept feeling this feeling that was like, don't go to the airport right now. Like just whatever you do, like don't go to the airport right now. I was like, okay, whatever. So I look at the other flights. There's one that leaves at noon and there's like 50 open seats. There's so many. Okay, I'm being dramatic. There's like literally 17, 20 open seats and not a long standby list whatsoever. So I'm like, okay, perfect. Like I'll get on that one and I'll just sleep in and I can leave later. I check an hour before I go to the airport. I'm like, perfect. Like there's still 20 fucking seats. I'm like, there's still 20 open seats. Like this is so good. Mind you, since I do fly standby, I kind of show up to the airport late. Like I don't need to be there the 2.5 or whatever, the 2 fucking hours before that everyone like tells you to, because I literally find out during boarding if I'm getting on the fucking plane or not, so I don't need to be there that early. I get through security, I check this flight, and almost every seat is taken. I'm like, what the fuck? Am I just like not meant to go to Miami this weekend? Like, I'm just so fucking confused. So I know it's Memorial Day weekend and flights are super busy, but I was checking between Fort Lauderdale and Miami. So I'm like checking all these fucking flights, but this is where it gets like weird. I end up not getting on that flight by one fucking person, like literally one person, whatever. They roll me over to the next flight. Mind you, now I'm extra in my head, like, should I be going to Miami? Like, what the fuck is happening? Like, I don't know. I've never experienced this with standby. And I was going to buy a plane ticket for like $200. I checked to go buy it. It goes to like $500 for a one-way. I'm like, never fucking mind. We're good. I roll over to the next flight and I'm waiting for this next flight. Meet a friend. Hi, April. April! We're like doing the standby shit together. She's so fucking nice. And as we're waiting to figure out if we get on the flight, like I can see the seat map and there's like open seats. So I'm like, perfect. Like I'm going to get on this fucking flight. Like, need to keep in mind, my dead friend is a pigeon to me. That sounds she's a pigeon. So my dead friend's a pigeon to me. As I'm waiting to see if I'm going to get on this flight, a fucking pigeon is walking through the Newark airport. Why the fuck would there be a pigeon in the airport? Like, pigeon, what the fuck are you doing there? Since my friend had passed, everyone always knows she's a pigeon. My roommate will walk into the room and be like, oh my God, she's here because a pigeon is just like, she's a fucking pigeon. She would be like pissed to know that I think she's a pigeon, but she's a fucking pigeon. I'm like, what is this bitch trying to tell me? Like, what the fuck is she trying to tell me? I think I'm getting on this flight to go to Miami, and then who's running the gate says absolutely nothing and just closes the boarding. And we're like looking on our apps and we're like, wait, there's like open seats. Like there's fucking open seats. And we're like, okay, like, guess I didn't get on that fucking flight. Which, like, that's fine. I understand this is, like, the standby process. Kind of weird. Not sure what he was doing, but, like, go off, King. The main reason this is all so fucking weird is because I've been talking to my dead friend a lot recently. I've been yelling at her, like, why do you send me the worst men ever? Like, all yesterday, I just, like, talked to the air and, like, I talked to her a lot. And I've never had, like, the gut feeling that's, like, telling me not to do something and I get confused with my gut feeling and anxiety, like, whatever. But I'm like, why is she in the airport with me? Like, what the fuck is she trying to say? Then roll over to the next flight, and me and my friend April were like doing this whole thing together, and April's like, I'm gonna fly into West Palm Beach. I'm like, maybe I'll fly into West Palm Beach. And she's like, yeah, I'll just drop you off in like Fort Lauderdale, and then you could go to like Miami from Fort Lauderdale. I'm like, oh my God, perfect. That's like a 2-hour fucking drive. I'm like, this is like a lot, you know what I mean? Like, this is just like a fucking lot to get to Miami. And like in the back of my soul, I'm like, I don't think I should be in Miami. Like, I don't know what the fuck the feeling is. I'm like, I don't know what this is, because like Miami's supposed to be fucking healing for me this weekend, and like the hassle to get there is like so intense. April boards her flight. I decide to not go to West Palm Beach and then travel an extra 2 fucking hours, because like I'm like, that's just no. Next flight that I roll into books completely. I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm gonna like, no. Call my mom. I tell her everything. I tell her about the pigeon. I'm like, I think she's trying to talk to me. I don't know what the fuck she's trying to say. 2 minutes after I get off the phone with my mother, the fire alarm goes off in the airport, and it's like, everybody evacuate immediately. And someone comes on and is like, you don't need to evacuate, like whatever. But I'm like, the fire alarm's going off. I'm like, this is just so chaotic, so stressful. I'm like, is this what she's trying to tell me, to like go home? I'm like, why the fuck does my dead friend want me in New York so bad? Like, why the fuck does my dead friend not want me to shake my ass on a yacht in Miami this weekend, like my plan was to do? So it's just been a weird day. I'm not that upset about the flights and stuff. I'm more like confused, because I'm like, what the fuck is this feeling that I have to be in New York this weekend, and why did I see my dead friend in the airport being a fucking pigeon? Like, I'm just confused, you know what I mean? I think anyone would be fucking confused in this situation. So it's just been like a chaotic and weird day. And I know she has something to tell me. I'm like, bitch, what are you trying to say? I have been talking to her a lot. I'm like, fuck these dumb men that you send me, bitch. What is that? And then I'm like, send me a good one, bitch. Send me a good one.
My boyfriend has a work wife and I hate it. Story time. Me and my boyfriend have been together for nearly 4 years now, and we've been long distance for 3 of those years. This has been because of the pandemic and the fact that we both just live in different cities. There have been absolutely no reasons for me to not trust this man. All of these years long distance, nothing has ever happened for me to doubt his feelings or lose his trust. That was until 3 months ago. In our relationship, we often talk about our days, like what happened at work, etc. And everything was like pretty normal until he started talking about this one coworker. We'll call her Amy. So my boyfriend, we'll call him Steve, has worked there for 2 years, and Amy had worked there for like 5+ years. And to be honest, I can't even say if they only recently met, because they've always been in the same department and on the same team. In all his time working there, I have never heard him talk about Amy, at least sort of not how he's talking about her now. So anyway, buckle in. So Steve starts telling me how amazing Amy is, and how he is just so happy that he has found Amy as a friend. Now, I was all alright with that until he says that she is his work wife. Now, I know the concept of a work wife and a work husband, and to be frank, I don't like that. So at that point, I asked how long they had been each other's work spouse. And he said it had been about 3 months. And then he said about how his office had started to joke about how good him and Amy looked together. So apparently his office are trying to get them together by giving them projects that they always have to do, just the two of them. And this has made them grow closer. He always tell me how they look after each other. And Amy even goes as far as to pack my boyfriend lunch every day. So apparently Amy would often ask him what he wanted to eat, then she would go home, cook it and bring it for his lunch the next day. You know, I really couldn't bear to hear anymore. I just felt so betrayed. I just feel so lied to. I just keep thinking about all the times I'd asked how his day was and this Amy girl and these stories just never came up. I didn't even know Amy and him were even that close. And then I never had any idea about his co-workers teasing them. And now I just don't know what to do. I have spoke to Steve about it, but he says that I'm just blowing things up for no reason. And I just feel so betrayed.
I was 21 years old, y'all. I took a theater class in college. A theater class which led to me breaking up with my first straight man. I took this class because I needed an easy A, basically. I wanted to do performance. I wanted to act again. I did performing arts in high school. I did high school of the arts. So I was like, I'll take this class. It'll be an easy A. It's whatever. One day I was out sick. And the teacher decided to pair people up to do a performance. The last performance of the semester. I come to class and she's paired me up because I wasn't there with the other boy that wasn't there. And it's a straight boy. We gonna call him Bill. Bill's this cute boy in class. I never really talked to him much, but we decided that we're going to do a breakup scene. I'm like, let's do a breakup scene. I'm like, yeah, we'll be able to show our emotions and we'll go out swinging in this little class. I'm a little shocked that Bill wants to do this, though, because he's straight, but I'm like, okay, let's go all out. And we do it, y'all. We go all out. We're swinging, y'all, at each other. We're screaming. We're having a full breakup in front of this class. We do the performance. We both get A's in the class. At the end of the performance, the whole class is like, damn, I thought that was real. The teacher was like, damn, I thought that was real. And even me, I had like a tear in my eye. I was like, ooh. I felt something. Me and Bill say our goodbyes after the class and wish each other best of luck on graduation, and maybe we'll see each other around. A year or two goes by, and my friend is like, hey, come to my house. I'm gonna have a house party. But I didn't know at the time that one of his roommates was Bill. So I'm low-key excited to see Bill. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna see Bill. I'm gonna see how he is. Let's see what's going on. I walk in, and I get this pit in my stomach, like, whew. And he's like, how are you? I'm like, I'm good. How are you? We're keeping the conversation light. To a minimum, I thought we won't be keen about our class or whatever. And he's like, well, I'll see you around. And I was like, okay, I guess I'll see you around too. And I walked away being like, damn, it's weird running into your ex. I see Bill one more time that summer and I'm like, hey, can I bring something up? Every time, like, I saw you at the house party and I feel like we broke up. Like, I feel like when I'm around you, I'm around an ex. Do you feel that way? And he's like, yes. When you left the house party, I was like, damn, it's weird running into my ex. I'm like, me too. Even though he's straight and I'm gay. It becomes like an inside joke between us and we just let it be. 6 years goes by and I move into a studio apartment. I'm trying to live cheaply because this is the year that I decided I was going to move to New York. And I'm living in my apartment. I don't want to set up Wi-Fi. I don't want to set up anything that's going to cost me extra money. So I go knock on my neighbor's door in this apartment complex to be like, yo, can I use your Wi-Fi? The door opens and sure enough, it's Bill. And y'all, I'm like, hey, Bill, how are you doing? And he's like, what? Why are you knocking on my door? I'm like, I live right across the hall, directly across the hall. And he's like, weird. And he's like, I'm off to Mexico. If I have to go move to Mexico, I'm like, I'm off to New York. And he's like, yeah, I don't got Wi-Fi either. I'm trying to live cheaply. I'm like, me too. We both acknowledge again, like, it's good seeing you. I wish you the best of luck. Hope you're happy. And we move on. And yes, y'all, me and Bill still keep in contact on social media here and there. We're just friends, and I always joke with people. I'm like, I don't know how actors do this stuff because I took one theater class, fell in love with a straight man, and went through a breakup with him.
I can't sleep, so I want to tell you it's keeping me up at night. So, have you ever been robbed? Technically, I wasn't robbed, but my dad was. But it was my fault. So basically, me and my family, we went to Greece, right? My dad had like a business trip, and it happened to be like the same time I had school vacation, whatever. So we all went, right? And before we got there, everyone that we know that's been to Greece has told us the same thing. They were like, okay, you're going to Athens. If you're going to Athens, don't leave your phone anywhere. Don't leave your purse on the table. Don't don't just have money in your pocket. Like, you're going to get robbed, right? And you might be thinking like, this is normal. Like this, this same rule applies to France, London, blah, blah, blah. Do you see a pattern here? They're all European. No, I'm kidding. You get robbed in the Middle East too, I promise. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, so while we were there, we saw multiple people get like pickpocketed right in front of us, right? And we'd be like, watch out, like, blah, blah. First of all, language barrier, blah, blah. By the time that they realized what we were saying, the guy would have went off, right? So my dad started being like, I don't know, what's the word? The paranoid? The day after we saw how many people were getting pickpocketed, I saw my dad put his shoes on for a good 30 minutes. And I was like, Baba, why are you taking 30 minutes to put your shoes on? This is insane. He was stuffing them with money. Like, I can't. was just like, Bubba, like, first of all, that's not comfortable. Second of all, it's summer. So it's gonna be like, you know what I mean? It's gonna stink. It's gonna smell like shit a little bit. Like, what do you mean? And he would be like, no, money is money. Money is money. Who cares? Who cares? You're telling me in €100, they're gonna just be like, oh no, it stinks? It's exactly what they did. We went to a restaurant, we were paying, and the guy literally goes, do you have other, Obviously, when that happened, my dad was like a little bit embarrassed. So he like, goes to the bathroom real quick, takes out all the money, puts it in a little like, crossbody bag situation. And he was just like, okay, we're set. Let's go. And as we were leaving the restaurant, I see a subway station. Now, I've never seen a subway station my entire life because I grew up in the Middle East, right? I was like, Baba, Mom, can we please go use the subway? Like, I feel like it's going to be like a movie scene. Like, it's going to be so fun. Like, it's going to be such an interesting experience. None of us have ever been on the subway. My mom goes like, no, I've been to one in London. I was like, okay, no one asked, Sarah. Like, I managed to convince them. We go downstairs, we go into the subway, we go into one of the carts, all the seats are taken, so we just end up standing, right? We were the only ones standing. The first stop goes fine. My dad tripped a little bit, but nothing crazy. He gave me a little one of these, but it's fine. And then on the second stop, it was rush hour, right? And that was bad. Now, all of a sudden, all these people like rush in, blah, 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 blah. My mom grabs me, and then my dad gets pushed all the way to the back, right? And my parents both have never experienced a rush hour in a subway, right? Now, my dad's a little bit tall, so he's like, I just want you to picture it, right? Imagine a sea of people in the subway, and then my dad, just like a little bit taller, right? And all you see is him going like, this means I'm gonna fuck you up when I get home. Would take breaks in between his little this to be like this. He'd be like, Allah yaddimni yakum. Allah yaddimni yakum. Wallahi Allah yaddimni. It literally means God disconnect me from you. Like, cut ties, cut everything. Fuck off from me, basically. Then it just got a little bit worse because he started yelling at us from across the subway, but in Arabic, being like, I don't understand these people. They pack themselves up like sardines and they all smell like shit. They don't have AC. They don't have anything. Allah yarfhum. And they're so disgusting, God. Oh my God. Like that type of shit, right? Now, I feel like at this point, everyone got the vibes. They didn't understand what he was saying, but they understood what he was saying. Do you get what I mean? So when we got out, after we get out, we get into a taxi and he drops us off, whatever, and it's time to pay. And my dad opens his bag and there's no money. There's no money whatsoever. He's like, Bibo, and I'm Bibo. He's like, Bibo, did you take the money? And I was like, no, I didn't. He's like, are you sure? I was like, yeah. Did you check your socks? He looked at me and he was like, Allah yaddimni yak. Moral of the story, if you're a tourist in a different country, just don't maybe yell in your native language so you don't literally tell the entire nation, pickpocket me. You know what I mean? Just be a little bit quiet.
So I'm a good guy. I take my kids out in public a lot. We went to Olive Garden the other day because I spoil them. Target trips, Meijer trips, grocery store, throw it in the cart. You know what I'm saying? Went to Olive Garden when you're here, your family. Food is overpriced and shitty, and it's just a terrible time. But they like Olive Garden. Now all three of my kids are batting 1,000 because they just suck. It started out, here's how it started, and then I'll tell you how it ended because that's how stories go. We sit down, waiter comes up, my daughter goes, bonjour. I don't even know the oldest. Is that Italian in? Stroked on the words, no retakes. That's not what they speak, is it? Off to a rough start. She's like them people that go to Mexican restaurants, try to speak Spanish when you only know like 3 words. It's just embarrassing. I'm like, damn. So we order. My youngest, the baby, looks at me. She's like, Daddy, I got poop. Well, it's just me, myself, and I out here. And I've got this fear of my kids getting kidnapped because I will not be able to find them. I've got no money, no extra time. So we all 4 have to go to the bathroom. We're in a men's restroom. We're all in the stall. Captain Obvious goes, Daddy, it stinks in here. That's my middle child. Nothing gets past her, nothing at all. And I'm like, all right, cool. How many bathrooms do you walk into, take a deep breath and go, good morning? No, it just smells good, all right? None. 0. Show me, 0. We get in there, get the baby on the toilet. I'm holding on to her arms, or her little baby hands. Her little fingers are squeezing mine, and her stomach's like doing the worm. She's like, ugh. And then she goes, Daddy, I farted. We ran to the bathroom because I didn't tell this part of the story. We're not potty training, so I was unprepared. She looked at me and was like, I want to use the potty. She farted in the toilet, flushed it. Prison rule style. That's what you do in prison. TikTok taught me that. We get back to the table. And she's telling the waiter comes back up. She's like, I farted in the toilet. I'm talking to my mom on the phone. She's like, Graham, I farted in the toilet. She's happy as shit. That was not what I wanted to do. Then the waiters walking to other tables. Middle child thought it'd be funny to go, oh, waiter. Without missing a beat, my oldest is like, waiter!